My name's Karen Peak. I don't know if you heard about me before you came in this afternoon, but I'm here to tell you a little bit about my story of not being able to cook, being scared of cooking, not knowing anything about cooking, to writing a cookbook and making a health food cookbook. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my story, and then we're going to do a cooking demo, and then you're going to get to eat more food. So try to work off your lunch here so you'll be hungry again for more, okay? That's a good idea. You got plenty here to choose from. Yes, I do have more food. We have some incredible food you're going to want to save room for, or at least one thing if nothing else, but definitely save room. But I'll tell my story first while y'all are eating so you don't miss anything up here. Basically, I started out in life with bilateral hip dysplasia. I don't know if anyone is familiar with this in the medical field here or not, but basically bilateral hip dysplasia is when you have no hip sockets. And I came out of the womb and my legs just kind of dangled. There's nothing to keep them in the sockets. And so my doctors at the time told my parents she's going to have one operation after another operation, and we're going to have to do a lot of stuff for her. So they talked about it. Parents went home to church and told the prayer warriors at the church about me. And they literally prayed over my body and just prayed that God's will be done with me and healing could be done, and just this wonderful thing. I had a surgery date scheduled, and right before the surgery date, they had me go back to the hospital, get some more x-rays just to make sure everything was going on was okay so we could get ready for the operation. Well, a miracle took place. I had hip sockets formed. Miraculously, hip sockets were formed, so I never had one operation. They were able just to put my legs in the sockets, and I wore leg braces for many, many, many years, like Forrest Gump, you know, those. And then I waddled like a penguin because it was so much fun. But I was healed, never had an operation. As you see, I'm able to walk and talk today. And high heels. I don't wear very high, but I do wear a little bit. So then I stayed healthy growing up. I wasn't a sick baby, and when I was in school, grade school, I couldn't stand school. I hated going to school, and I wanted to be sick so bad. I tried to fake it, but my mom knew I was faking it every time, so she made me go anyways. But then my wish I didn't want happened. In 2006, I had Graves' disease. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Graves'. It's a thyroid condition. You know what it is. Graves' is a super high thyroid. My thyroid is running overtime. And I liked it in a lot of ways because I could eat like anything else. One meal, I had 4 hamburgers and 2 hot dogs and a whole bag of chips, and I still was hungry, and I didn't gain any weight. I just kept losing weight. So if you want Graves' for that reason, I'd say go for it. But other than that, you don't want it. But I had a surgery date scheduled to get the thyroid out because it was so hot, and it was just it's a disease you don't want. It's just bad. So the day before the operation, I get a phone call from the surgeon, and he says, "You will die tomorrow on the table if we operate. We cannot operate on you." So I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. You prepare me for all this. I have to emotionally get my mind wrapped around I'm going to be operated on. It's going to be an open thing. I'm going to have to stay overnight. And now you're telling me I can't do it because I'm going to die tomorrow? The reason being, with Graves', if you operate and your thyroid is as hot as it is, you'll go into thyroid storm. And that is when your body starts convulsing because your temperature is 105 plus. Your heart rate is just so high, your body just can't control it, and it ends up killing you. And as soon as they put anesthesia in me, I would have died on the operating table. So he said, let's wait a month. Let's try to cool down the thyroid. Let's give you some medicine to try to cool it down and make it better so we can operate on you. And a month went by, nothing changed. And he said, we've got to get this out of you. So he put extra arms and extra eyes in the operating room with him in case I went into thyroid storm, they could get me out. Luckily, I was going into thyroid storm, but he was able to get me out of it before dying on the table. And I had a successful surgery, and now I'm thyroid free. I was great for a couple of months. I was able to exercise, and I was able to work. I was a nurse. All I ever wanted to do as a child was be a nurse. My father is a physician, and I love blood and gore. I loved it so much. That's all I wanted to do. Plus, my dream was to help people. I wanted to make a difference in someone's life, make them laugh, just make a difference. And what better way of doing that than be a nurse? So I was able to be my nurse and work. And then a few months later, symptoms started coming back that I wasn't familiar with. I was having a high heart rate of over 150 to 200 just sitting down and resting, and it stayed that high all the time. I was having heart palpitations. I'm not sure if anyone in here is familiar with heart palpitations, but it's where you can feel your heart pumping throughout your entire body, and you can feel it just it's kind of creepy, but I was having that all the time. I was very, very fatigued. I could barely get up off the couch. My husband had to actually, a lot of the time, he has to get me up off the couch. He has to pull me out of a car. He has to pull me up the stairs. You're very fatigued. I was having nausea all the time, nausea. And I wasn't even pregnant. I couldn't enjoy the nausea for something growing, but it's nauseous all the time. I would have attacks similar to heart attack. And those scared you half to death, because if you've ever know what the symptoms of a heart attack are, I get those all the time. They can go for 30 minutes, they can go for 6+ hours, and they'll shut on when they want and shut off when they want, and there's nothing I can do about it to stop it. So I went from one doctor to another doctor, hearing, I don't know what's wrong with you, I can't help you, I think you're crazy, there's nothing we can do, it's all in your head, as I'm sure a lot of you have been told going to doctors at some point in your lifetime. So I'll tell you, I got really devastated. I was miserable. I couldn't work on the job very well from having the attacks, and I was just angry and I was very bitter. So during this time, we finally go to Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic is the only person who can help me, and they diagnosed me with inappropriate sinus tachycardia and postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Tongue twister. I dare you to say it. I bet you can't say it too fast. But basically, the POTS, the postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, that is an adrenal condition. And as you learn in school, you learn about fight or flight. I'm in constant flight. My body is always treating me as if a predator is going to attack me. So my heart rate is constantly high. I'm constantly nauseous. I am constantly palpitating because my body is trying to get the predator off for me to have adrenaline to get away. That is me 24/7. Then the heart problem, which is the inappropriate sinus tachycardia, all that extra adrenaline shooting from the adrenal glands is attacking my heart, which is causing my heart to go out of control. So I am one big mess. After Mayo Clinic, they said, well, number one, you cannot work anymore. You're a liability and it's too dangerous. You got to quit working. Number two, you can't have kids. It's too dangerous. You could kill you or the baby. Do not have kids. And I'm thinking, all right, you've just really destroyed my life. I'm young. I wanted to be a nurse. I would like to have kids. I'm still kind of newly married at the time. You've ruined my life. I went home in denial, true denial. You didn't want to know me back then. I was angry, and I was bitter with anyone who, one, could work, two, who could have a life and not feel sick all the time. And I was angry with God. I hated God. And I had been a Christian since the age of 11, and I hated him. I said, God, why did you do this to me? Why did you destroy my life? I gave my life to you as a Christian, as a young girl. Why would you take my life from me? You didn't want to know me. My friends, they left me. And I lost all my friends. And my husband and I were on the verge of divorce, because when you are thrown into an illness, your life turns upside down. He didn't marry this person that I had turned into. Finances were out the door because I couldn't work anymore. Doctor bills are piling up. And so the stress of the finances, the stress of the sickness, basically my life fell apart. And I sat at home, miserable, crying for myself every single day. And my husband, I don't know how he stayed with me. I really don't. But it's truly a God thing. But finally, he is a UT fan, UT Tennessee ball fan. He went there for school. Both our parents live there. So one September weekend, he wanted to go to see the Vols play. Me, I could care less about football, and I could care less about anything but the little dog, the mascot. I go for the mascot because I like to give everyone the play-by-play. Ooh, Smokey pooped. Ooh, Smokey's smiling, you know. So I decided I'll be a good wife. I'll go to Tennessee game for him. We got an added bonus. That same weekend, Don Piper, I don't know if you're familiar, 90 Minutes in Heaven. He wrote that book. It's the most incredible book. If you haven't read it, it's a must-read. He wrote 90 Minutes in Heaven. I had no idea he was speaking at the church, our parents' church that weekend. That is one of the only books I read. I'm not a big reader. And so I read that book from start to finish. That made my day, knowing I got to hear his testimony. Well, sad to say, I didn't hear a lick of his testimony. I had an attack, a horrible attack. And when I have my attacks, I zone out. I don't know how to explain it. My reality goes black. I can't talk. My throat closes up, and I'm dizzy. I can't focus on anything. So I basically sat there on that pew, having the attack, not being able to hear anything the man said. It devastated me. But God intervened. God let me hear 18 words. That's all I heard. The whole morning was 18 words, and those 18 words miraculously changed my life that morning. Those words are, if God can bring a dead man back to life, just imagine what he could do for you. And I was thinking, you're right. I'm not dead. I haven't died yet. Why am I acting like I'm a dead woman? I can still walk. I can still talk. I can still do things. I don't know what I can do, but I can be used in some form, some fashion. So the second that he said that and God intervened, I prayed for that moment. I said, okay, God, I want to accept my disease. I'm going to accept this disease. I'm going to like it. I'm going to enjoy every second of it that I can, and I'm going to use it for your glory. Whatever you want me to do, I'm going to be obedient, and I'm going to do it. So as soon as I prayed that prayer, and I asked for all the anger to go away and all the bitterness to go away from years of abuse from growing up, from other friends. I had a relationship that lasted 4 years that was nothing but abusive. I was suicidal growing up, and I wanted all that anger and bitterness to go away. I didn't want to live like this anymore. I have never experienced true peace and happiness, and I wanted it for the first time in life. The second I prayed for God to heal my spirit, and for the second I asked him to help me accept this disease, the second I prayed that and meant it, he took all the anger out of me and the bitterness, and I started weeping. I have never wept that hard in my life. And I finally felt true peace and happiness that I had never felt before. I finally accepted this horrible disease. I don't have good days. I have bad days, and I have really bad days. I don't know what a good day is anymore because I experience symptoms 24/7, but it's what I make each day to be. And so I accepted it, and as soon as I did that, he gave me a vision. The vision was, I know you can't work in a clinical form of nursing anymore, but you can still use your degree, and I'm going to have you do that. And the funny thing is, he asked me to write a cookbook. I kind of laughed at him because I don't know how to cook. During this time, cooking, not so much, and I'll tell you a little story about that in a minute. Then he asked me to do a TV talk show one day. And that freaked me out because I don't like being on TV. I don't like being in front of people. I don't like doing anything but being invisible. And that right there is not invisible, as anyone can see. But when God tells you to do something, you do it. And he will make it out of your comfort zone, and he will see if you're obedient to him, and he's going to see if you will follow him, trust him. And as long as you trust him and you're obedient, God will make anything happen that he asks you to do. So basically, I'm over on this pew weeping like a baby. I'm scaring my husband and everyone around me. They think I'm having a heart attack, and I'm like, no, I'm just having a moment with God. I'm almost finished. So we went home from church that weekend back here to Virginia Beach, and the story is, before this weekend, my husband and I literally lived off boxed meals that you stick in the microwave or in the oven. We had chicken pot pie in a box one day, a boxed lasagna on another day. We had hamburger helper another day. I could only cook one thing, and that was my family's secret recipe of spaghetti. That's the only thing we ever made that was fresh, and I should have been born Mexican because every Friday night, I have to have Mexican food. I have to. Other than that, it was a boxed meal for years and years and years, and my husband finally said to me, Karen, please learn how to cook. I'm sick of boxed meals. Please learn how to read a recipe, learn how to write a recipe, do something. I'm sick of this. So during that time, too, I almost caught my parents' house on fire because I put a bagel in the microwave for 10 long minutes. And I came back to the microwave only after 3 or 4 minutes of it cooking. The microwave was on fire. The bagel was on fire. The house filled with black smoke that stunk like nothing else. And I was like, okay, my dad's at war, my mom is walking, I'm home alone, they're going to come home to a burned down house. What am I going to do? So that was my first cooking disaster. You don't want me writing a book if you hear that story. Then I burned Jell-O on the stove. It is possible. I did not have the brains in me. I'm a blonde. I didn't have the brains to cook the water first and then pour the water in the Jell-O. No, I put the Jell-O in the sauce pot on the boiling water. It burned. Don't ever do that for future reference. My in-laws came over for Thanksgiving. This story is pretty sad. I was cooking turkey for the first time, so excited that they were going to get to enjoy a nice Thanksgiving at my house. I cooked the turkey for the time that you're supposed to, the heat on the temperature the way you're supposed to. I took it out, and it was beautiful. I was like, yay, I actually did something good. I start carving it after I let it rest for a few minutes, and it started bleeding. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I've ruined this too. So, me being blind and not knowing how to cook, what did I do? I started carving it, crying about it, put it in a dish, threw it over the fence. I have woods in my backyard. I was thinking, I've ruined this. I can't serve this for anyone, so I'm just going to have to throw it over the fence and feed whatever animals eat meat and let them have Thanksgiving dinner, and we'll just pass this year. It didn't dawn on me until halfway through throwing half the bird over the fence, oh, if you put it back in the oven, it'll finish cooking. I didn't do that. So we had half a turkey for Thanksgiving. So basically, this is why I laughed at God when he said, I want you to write a cookbook. Because I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to write a recipe. Spice racks, I thought it was decoration. I literally had 10-year-old spices sitting on my countertop looking pretty because I didn't know what you used them for. So basically, that is why I laughed at God and said, I'm not writing a cookbook. But when God tells you to do something, what do? You do it. So we came home back here to Virginia Beach after that weekend, and I can't explain it to you. I sat on the couch and wrote a recipe. It just came to me. And then I wrote another recipe. I was at the gym working out. I'm in my body pump class, and a recipe comes to mind, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to remember this. So the whole class, I'm trying to remember the recipe. I can't get it out of my head. Thousands and thousands of recipes came to me, and I have now written close to 2,000 to 3,000 recipes. And I was thinking, wow, this is the coolest thing. We actually ate them. No one was sick. No one threw up. No one died. Everything was good. I experienced what herbs and spices were. I love herbs and spices. I have high cholesterol. That's part of my genetic gene pool. And I don't cook with a lot of salt. Can't have a lot of fried foods. Can't have the Alfredos and stuff, and I love that stuff. So I learned at this point, God inspired in me, this is how you make good, healthy food. So I learned what that little decoration piece was, the spice and herbs. And of course, I tossed them because they were so expired, you don't want them. Got me some new ones, and I learned how to use herbs and spices together to flavor your food and not jack up my cholesterol more than it already was and make me worse physically. So after all this happens, I'm thinking, okay, I've got enough recipes for a book. How do I create a book, God? And again, if he tells you to do something, he's going to find a way for you to do it. My sister worked at this place, had nothing to do with publishing, had nothing to do with cookbook, anything. But she met a man who worked with their company who designs books. And he said that after she was leaving her job, they had a good relationship. If you ever need anything, let me know. I'll be happy to help you. She said, actually, I do. My sister is writing a cookbook. Could you help her design it? He goes, I would be happy to. She hooked me up with him. And long story short, after a lot of sweat and tears and obedience to God, this book finally got published. And that was the most incredible thing, that when you literally devote your time and your patience and your trust in God, anything is possible. Now, this book cost a lot of money, I must say. But again, God wanted me to do this. Money came. He supplied the money. People who had no clue we were working on something gave us gifts of money. We had a car we needed to sell. We used that for money. It's incredible when you obey God what he will do for you. So here's the book. Now, the cool thing about the book is it's not your typical cookbook. Yes, the title of it here is Be Your Own Chef. I want you to be your own chef. I don't like cookbooks that say you have to do it my way. I want you using my exact recipe. I want you using my exact spice measurement. I don't want to be bossy. I'm a sweet person. I don't like that. So here, you're going to have ranges. I love spice. Not hot spice, but flavor. I love flavor. So I have ranges of flavor. You can start small. If you don't like a lot of flavor, start at the lower end of my recipe. Or if you like flavor, move on up to where my top range is. But taste your food as you go, and then that's you being your chef, you deciding how much flavor you want in your food. Then I also have my nursing degree in here, because if you are vegan, gluten-free, vegetarian, meat eater, peanut allergy, dairy allergy, you can eat every recipe in this book. And you're probably looking at me like there's no way. There is a way. You open my book, you've got my recipe up here at the top. You have the preparation, and then you have tips. I have to cook on a budget, and so I've had to learn to cook cheap, basically, but make good food. So you've got tips on how to prepare your food on a budget, how to preserve your food. I hate food after you buy it from the store. It rots and it molds and it dies so quick that it's not worth paying the money for it. So it dies, and you have to go and spend more money on new food. Here I tell you how you can preserve your food life with each recipe. It's all specific to each recipe. Below you have the alternative section. That way, if you are not a meat eater and you are vegan or vegetarian, you swap out the dairy, you swap out the meat, and you see up here, it will have the meat option that's in here, and you'll just swap it out with the vegan choice, the vegetarian choice, or the gluten-free, or the peanut allergy. I mean, whatever your dietary need is, you swap it. That way, if you have a mixed household, you will have the same recipe and you don't have to cook a million different meals. There's no page flipping. I mean, God told me everything to do because he knew women, we don't like page flipping. We don't like cooking a bunch of meals. We want to save time in the kitchen. We want to save money. And that's what he told me to do. So basically, that is my story. I went from not being able to cook to look at me now. I haven't killed anyone and I'm sharing my food with people of how to cook healthy. I've learned that you can eat anything you want to and make it healthy. Anything at all. Chicken Parmesan, I found a healthy way of making it. It's in there. Crab cakes, I know a healthy way of making it. So do not ever limit yourself. You can eat anything you want, truly, and it be healthy. You can make it for your needs, and you don't have to deprive yourself of something great. So that is something that I love to do, is share this with people. I also want to share with people not to give up on life. I gave up on life for 2 to 3 years, and I regret doing that because that's 2 or 3 years of my life I cannot get back. But in a way, I'm glad I did it because I would not be standing here today talking with you and sharing what God has done for me in my testimony if it wasn't for those 2 to 3 years. So I don't ever want you to give up. If you have a child who is ill, or if you've lost a child, or if you've gone through a divorce, or if you've gone through an illness like I have, God will work his magic. He will work his will in your life, and he will direct your life in the way that he wants you to live it. That's going to be an amazing story for people and for yourself. So that is my goal, is to do those 2 things. Now, I have a little secret. I am pregnant, and Mayo Clinic told me you're not allowed to get pregnant. And guess what? Y'all know before our own parents know. They don't even know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm 4 weeks pregnant.
Are you sending them this video?
No, they'll have to watch it on my website later and be like, what? You told everyone but us. But we're going to go visit them in Tennessee. I was going to go this weekend, but I didn't want to cancel on you. So we're going to go next weekend to tell our parents. So it's a secret for a whole week and a half because I found out Wednesday. But the cool thing about it is Mayo Clinic told me you can't get pregnant. It's too dangerous. You could die. The baby could die. Don't do it. I found a new specialist in Toledo, Ohio in November. In November, the specialist in POTS told me, yes, it could probably be dangerous, but we want you to still do it. Do not deprive your life. We have high-risk doctors that are going to be there for you if you need anything. And as I've learned, God is bigger than any disease. If he wants me to have a healthy pregnancy, he will give it to me. If he wants me to have a healthy baby, he will do it. He miraculously healed me at birth. That's why I shared that story with you, because do not ever downplay God. He can do anything. And so I just thought that was so cool that I was told, no, you can't. And then she said, yes, there's a possibility of dangers of miscarriages all the way through. You're going to be sick as a dog. It's going to be the worst pregnancy. She told me all the horror stories of my disease and what it does. But I'm going to have faith that God's going to take care of me. So far, 4 weeks, we're okay. We'll see what happens. But God is amazing, and that's all I wanted to share with y'all today. Now my story's done. We're going to play with food. Yay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go over the things that are made and let you know about them, and then we'll get into the good stuff. Who loves salsa? Chips and salsa? That is my weakness, truly. I have homemade salsa here. We have 2 different types. This side over here, you've got some added herbs, but it's basically crushed tomatoes with some onion and some cilantro. And then I've got the garlic powder, onion powder, and that's what this one is, just the basic. This one here has added basil and oregano, so you can have an idea of how you can be your chef, play with your food, and make your food more flavorful or a little basic. I like to put jalapenos juice and jalapenos in it some, but I didn't today because I didn't think everyone is my kind of taste, so this is the basic stuff, but it's really good. These are to die for. It's going to be hard for me to share these with you. It's hard to share them with anyone. They're my homemade potato chips. You are allowed a guilty pleasure. Don't ever say you are only allowed to eat health food. That is so not true. These, you can make them healthy by using good oil, which is canola oil. That's good for your heart. Or peanut oil or sunflower oil. Vegetable oil, not so much, but if that's all you can afford, you're okay to have a guilty pleasure. These have a long history behind them. My dad won't let me go home without them. He's addicted to them. He's like, you can't come back to visit unless you have your chips. It's like, okay, thanks, Dad. I did book signings. People ate my chips, and then they left to go home. They ended up leaving and coming back halfway home because they wanted more chips. So these you're going to fall in love with. I dare you to eat just one, and then we'll pay some money. If you can't follow the deal, you have to give me the money. So that's a little dare for you guys. But do eat them all up because I don't need them, and neither do we. We don't need them at all. So those are the homemade potato chips and the homemade salsa. I did not make the Tostitos, so just if they're nasty, it's not my fault. Now we're going to make potato salad. Who likes potato salad? Good, everyone, basically. Did y'all know how horribly fattening potato salad is for you? Can you believe that I've learned how to make it healthy so you're not going to gag on your way home thinking my arteries are going to be so clogged I'm going to die today? I did. I've learned to make it healthy, and I'm going to make it for you guys today. And if you have questions, please ask me while I'm cooking, and I'm going to give you health benefits of all the food we're putting in there.
Potato chips, white potatoes,
These are white potatoes. You use Idaho or russet, and you can bake them in the oven. I've tried, but they're just not as good. So as long as you don't eat this whole thing, you're okay. So we're going to start with the potatoes. These are just basic Idaho russet potatoes that we're going to use. Things you can do for your potato salad, if you don't want to use all potato, you can mix it with sweet potato. You can mix it with regular potato and just have kind of a different colored salad. Or if you like cauliflower, you could cook up some cauliflower, make it into florets, and then you can have partly potato, part cauliflower. So, but this right here, since I didn't know everyone's taste, is just regular potato. Now, Greek yogurt. Who knows about Greek yogurt? Yay, it seems like everyone. I was asked recently, what is the difference in Greek yogurt and regular yogurt? Do y'all know the difference? Protein is number one. This is higher in protein than the other yogurts. So I know from working out, I've done other curves, cooking demos for you guys, and y'all, I've always stressed, eat more protein. So the reason you want to eat Greek yogurt is it's higher in protein. It also has less carbs. The other one has a little bit more carbs. So this one is fewer carbs if you're trying to go on a diet or if you're trying to eat a little less, this is the way to go. It also will help lower your blood pressure. There's not as much sodium in Greek yogurt as the regular yogurt. So if you have high blood pressure, you want to go with Greek yogurt. So these are the benefits of Greek yogurt over the regular. But if you're not a fan of Greek, that's okay. You can use regular. You can use all the other alternatives I've got in there that makes you happy. You can use mayo, but mayo, as everyone knows, is very high in fat. You don't want mayo. But they have a vegan mayonnaise that's healthier. It's made of soy. That would be the way to go if you really want mayonnaise. Now, for Greek yogurt, you need to strain it. So what I did, you put the yogurt in here, but you want to stick it on a paper towel. Mine are kind of flimsy, so this was a bad way to show it to you. But you stick the Greek yogurt in a paper towel. As you see, it's very watery. And you're going to stick it in a paper towel inside of the strainer. And you're going to put it in a bowl, and you're going to let the water strain out. This bowl is filled with water. So after you've strained this Greek yogurt for about 15-20 minutes, you're going to add it to the potatoes. And so instead of having a mayo-based potato salad, we're having a Greek yogurt-based potato salad. So you kind of have the tang of the mayonnaise, but it's healthier for you. Okay, and of course you cook your potatoes. You can peel them before or after. You can peel them before, cut them in cubes, boil them till they're fork tender. But if you wanted to wait till afterwards, you can. Just make sure that after you've boiled them and you don't cut them up, put them in their whole, run them under cold water, and the peel comes right off. So you can do it either way. So we're going to mix the Greek yogurt in here with the potatoes. Now, eggs. What are they high of? Well, actually, yes, they can be high in cholesterol, but the egg yolks they've learned are not that high in cholesterol. So you can eat eggs, but they are high in protein, very high in protein. Eggs are great for you. So as long as you eat egg in moderation, you're good. But truly, I don't know how they did it, but they did studies that egg yolk is not as high in cholesterol as they thought it was. So for added protein more, we're going to add some hard-boiled egg. I'm not adding all of this. I didn't want to scare you, but we are going to add some egg to give us some added protein. And then you're just going to mix everything up. Okay, I love mustard. Who in here loves mustard? Any type of mustard. And the good thing about mustard, it does not have really any calories in it. It does not clog your arteries. So we are going to have our Greek yogurt, which is our mayo, in a small amount, but we're going to add a lot of mustard and have a mustard-based potato salad. Since mustard is extremely healthy in the fact that you're not going to have arteries clogged, and it has a nice tangy to it, you're going to really enjoy your salad. We're going to add yellow mustard as well as Dijon mustard to have a little flavor war in there. Now, I have never made my salad this big before, so it's going to look like I'm adding too much, but there's a lot of potato in here, so we're going to have to add more. Just don't want y'all scared that I'm killing you with mustard. Do y'all have any questions so far about anything while I'm milking the mustard?
At least, how many eggs do you use? How many egg yolks?
Normally, what you can do if you're kind of iffy about the egg yolk ratio, if not being high in cholesterol, in my cookbook I tell you what you can do is use like 1 or 2 egg yolks, throw the rest out in the other eggs, and just use the egg whites. But use the same amount of egg, but just take out some of the yolk. And that way you're only eating some of the yolk instead of all the yolk. Or if you are, like I said, if you are a vegan and you don't do that, there's egg substitute you could use. You can even take the egg out completely. Or you can use silken tofu, and that'll be the vegan form of it. And like I told you, I have a lot of potatoes, so we're going to add more mustard. I was told 20 people, so I wanted to make sure that y'all weren't hungry. Now, I also like flavor in my food with vegetables because I'm not adding salt. As you see, there is not 1 ounce of salt on this table. We are going to add certain foods and vegetables to flavor it. Who likes celery? I don't like celery, but I loved it in my potato salad. So if you don't like it, you're going to like it. Celery has some cool benefits to it. Did you know that celery is great after working out? If you have worked out and sweated out all your liquid inside, this here will refill your electrolytes. So this is good to eat after a workout. It also lowers your cholesterol and it lowers your blood pressure. So yeah, here you go. 2, if you're constipated, there's some chemical in this that's a good one that helps keep your colon moving. So if you are having problems, just gnaw on celery. So as you see, celery has some great health benefits. What's that? Sure, you can have the leftovers. I bet y'all didn't know that your food had this much benefit to it. It also fights cancer. So if you have cancer growing inside, or if you don't want cancer, eat tomatoes and celery. I do know those are both cancer-fighting foods. Now, I'm going to make y'all laugh with my next food. Who likes any type of onion? Shallot, onion, anything? Good. Did you know that onion will melt fat away in your body? So you could truly, if you were feeling fat one day, just go chew on an onion. And you'll cry over it, which it'll make you even more happy because you're crying away the fat. So hey. But we're going to add shallot because it is a good flavor. I'm not adding salt again, so we're going to add some flavor with shallot. Now I'm going to teach you a little secret. If you don't like the bite in onion, like me, I don't like eating raw onion. You don't really eat it raw in here. You don't taste it because it's a shallot. It's not as strong. But yellow onion, red onion, any of those, if you don't want the bite, put vinegar over the onion, and the vinegar will take the bite out of the onion so you can eat it and not get all that horrible breath and all the effects that come with it. So there's you a little trick.
What type of vinegar?
Any type of vinegar. It's just the vinegar.
Whole onion or after you've chopped up your onion?
After you chop it, you can just stick it in. Basically, have you ever had onion in your salad and you have a vinaigrette salad? Are you amazed at how your breath does not shoot out onion and you're not crying over the bitter taste? It's the vinegar in the salad dressing that took out the stuff with it. Okay, I did not know you could cry over chives, but I was crying last night. You can, so I can't help you on that one. But chives, they're another form of onion. They're colorful as well as they are good for you. So we're going to add a little bit of chive. This could. That's probably what everyone's going to eye. Are y'all missing salt yet, or mayonnaise?
When you cook your potatoes, do you cook them in salted water?
No.
Do you use anything? Basil? No, bay leaves.
Ooh, yes. I have done that before when I do mashed potatoes.
Bay leaves, it can be substituted anytime when you're boiling like pasta and potatoes.
And it basically acts as a salt.
And it's usually 2 bay leaves.
Something else I've learned too, I do this for French fries. I make homemade baked French fries. Did y'all know that if you put lemon juice or lime or citrus over your food, it acts as salt? And it tastes literally like you're eating a salted French fry. So you could even try water in your water besides the bay leaf. Put some lime juice, some lemon juice, and it will salt the flavor. It'll salt the water for you. But since I've had high cholesterol, I don't do salt. I have a shaker because it goes with the set, but I don't use it. I did on the chips because you can have salt, you know. But yeah, those are another option. So if you wanted salt, just add either the bay leaf or the lemon or lime. Depends on if you get straight vinegar, it's okay for you, but you don't want to get vinaigrette dressings. Those are loaded with sodium. Those are horrible for you. If you go to the store and get vinaigrettes, they are so full of stuff you don't want. I do have a homemade version in here, and I can also teach you another version that will be in my next book. It's 3 ingredients. It's Dijon mustard, oil, and vinegar. You can't beat that, and it's any vinegar flavor you want. But yeah, it depends on what kind of vinegar stuff you buy with the sodium. But that's still really good because it doesn't clog arteries and it's good for the body. Yeah, that is the bad thing about that. But you exactly. All right, now we're going to add some paprika. Everyone like paprika? Paprika? It's like a deviled egg, but not really. Again, I don't want any of that extra stuff we don't need, so for added flavor, I'm going to add some of the paprika. Now, who likes bacon bits in their pasta salad, potato salad? These are soy. They're not meat. They're soy. So I can add them, and I can leave them out. What's this consensus? Anybody want them out? No. So go ahead and add some in. All right, they're soy-based, so we don't have to worry about if someone in here is not a meat eater, you can still eat it. So we'll add a little bit of this.
A little bit?
Well, when you see how much potatoes in here, you want it in every bite.
You cook like me, I'm heavy-handed.
They say the real cooks don't measure. I hate measuring, but I literally cooked like over 10 potatoes. So I had a huge thing of potato for y'all, and I want to make sure that every bite has flavor, because y'all aren't going to like a plain potato salad with no flavor. So I kind of had to scare you and add a little more of stuff. All right. Potato salad is done. It's healthy. It's not going to clog your arteries, and it's going to taste good. Now we're going to add a smoothie to wash this down. Who likes smoothies? Yay, me too. This one is my favorite. I think it's everyone's favorite. It's going to be the breakfast smoothie. So we're going to start with ice in the blender. Whoops. Or on the floor, whichever. And then a banana, which is also high in potassium. So if you ever get those leg cramps, eat you a banana. I've also been told that it takes pimples away. I don't know. But I do know for sure if you have a splinter, wrap the banana peel around your splinter, and it will actually bring the splinter up to where you can get it out and not have to use tweezers. So keep bananas on hand for little kids and splinters. Okay, we got our banana in there. Now we're going to add frozen orange juice. If you don't like frozen orange juice concentrate, just squeeze your own orange juice. It doesn't matter. We're going to do about half a container. And then something that has good flavor, vanilla extract. We're just going to add about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons, and that's it. Just a little flavor. And then milk. And if you're vegan or a vegetarian and you don't do the dairy stuff, use soy milk, almond milk, whatever milk you want. It will work fine with this. And I have enough in here to make more, so if this is all you see, we have more. So now it's time to hold your ears. And there you go. There's your breakfast smoothie. Doesn't you could. You definitely. I've done that before. I've definitely added the yogurt, and it tastes just as good. You might want to add a vanilla flavor, and that way you don't even have to use a vanilla extract, but you could definitely use yogurt. So any questions about the smoothie, the potato salad, the salsa, or the chips, or anything else? So what do you think of that chip over there? I told you you couldn't eat just one. I needed to make a bet with you so I could pay off my bills.
Oh, no, not when it comes to potato chips, not for me.
Yeah.
Well, we can pass them around.
We could.
How do you slice your potato chips? So, is it on a mandolin?
I do use a mandolin, but if you do not have a mandolin, you can use a knife and just go very slow and go very close together. I mean, you need to make very thin strips. Yeah, you just take care of that.
There it goes.
But be careful with your mandolin. You use the guard. I cut my thumb off not using it, so please be sure to use the mandolin guard. Any other questions about anything you saw today or heard? We're good? All right, well, y'all come up here and chow down. Get whatever you want.
Y'all can't